It is very interesting because I don't think I've ever done back to back Operation Protect the White Boy, White Woman, White People, whatever the case may be, 2 in one day. That is crazy. But here I am doing one on a white couple. Now, I don't think I've done one on a white couple before. If I have, it's been a while. But I have talked about this couple before. If you don't know who this is Todd and Julie Chrisley. They were very well known for being on a reality TV show that they had, but they ended up becoming famous for something else rather detrimental and very criminal. And by that, I mean, these two were convicted of committing tax evasion and major fraud. I think I actually talked about them on my channel a while ago. It's been a while, and I think it was about that. Now, what's interesting is earlier, I talked about Scott Jenkins and him committing or taking bribes rather of $75,000. It added up to $75,000 for installing people in positions that they weren't supposed to be in. And then he ended up getting a pardon by Trump. Fast forward to this video now, and the same thing is happening here, because these two, despite what they did and should still be locked up, ended up getting a pardon by Trump as well. So let's go ahead and see what they're talking about here. President Donald Trump announced Tuesday that he's planning to pardon TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley, famous for Chrisley Knows Best, a reality show that followed their tight-knit family and extravagant lifestyle. The Chrisleys were convicted in 2022 of conspiring to defraud banks in the Atlanta area out of more than $30 million in fraudulent loans by submitting false documents. They were also found guilty of tax evasion by hiding their earnings while showcasing a luxurious way of living that prosecutors said included luxury cars, designer clothes, real estate, and travel. The move continues a pattern of Trump pardoning some high-profile friends, supporters, donors, and former staffers. The president also recently pardoned Paul Waltzak, and I probably messed his name up completely, a Florida healthcare executive in prison on tax charges whose mother helped expose the contents of a diary kept by Ashley Biden, daughter of former President Joe Biden. Todd Chrisley was accused of filing for bankruptcy and walking away from more than $20 million in unpaid loans. Julie Chrisley was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison, and Todd Chrisley got 12 years behind bars. The couple was also ordered to pay $17.8 million in restitution. Your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope that we can do it by tomorrow, Trump said in a call with their daughter, Savannah, according to a video posted online by a White House aide. This is a call that Trump made to their daughter and basically told them that your parents are about to get off not so much scot-free, because they still ended up having to do time, but they're not going to do their entire time because don't worry, I got your back. It goes on to say they've been given a pretty harsh treatment based on what I'm hearing, the president added a few moments later. Now let me pause right there, because he said the harsh treatment thing to Scott Jenkins as well. He pretty much said, you got a raw deal, you shouldn't be here, this Biden court is the reason why you're here, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Fast forward to this couple, he's basically using the same verbiage with them as he used with Scott Jenkins. So I really want people to pay attention to that. It goes on to say a White House official who spoke on condition of anonymity said the pardons would be forthcoming. The Chrisley's attorney, Alex Little, said the pardon, quote, corrects a deep injustice and restores two devoted parents to their family and community. Wait a minute. This is what I mean when I say Operation Protect, so on and so forth. Because not only are they getting a pardon for them committing a crime, because it is a crime they did commit it, because last time I thought tax evasion and fraud is a crime, but for the attorney to say that this corrects a deep injustice as if they're the victims, that's another layer of protection that they're receiving right there, as if they did nothing wrong, even though there's proof, definitive documented proof that they did something wrong. They're still the victim. It goes on to say President Trump recognized that we've argued from the beginning. Todd and Julie were targeted because of their conservative values and high profile. There's another layer of protection. What does them having conservative values have to do with anything? So you think because they're conservative, that's why they was targeted? No, they were targeted because they were committing criminal acts and they were leaving a paper trail. It has nothing to do with them being conservative. It has everything to do with them being criminals. It goes on to say, and then they say high profile. Yeah, a profile that they probably got so high on because they were stealing. It says their prosecution was tainted by multiple constitutional violations and political bias. Little statement added, Todd and Julie's case is exactly why the pardon power exists. Thanks to President Trump, the Chrisley family can now begin healing and rebuilding their lives. So again, I guess they felt like their kids was like so lost without them and it was a void that needed to be filled. Mind you, their kids are grown. I don't think they have a minor child. I think all of their kids are 18 or older. He said before the Chrisleys became reality television stars, they and a former business partner submitted false documents to banks in the Atlanta area to obtain fraudulent loans. Prosecutors said during the trial, they accused the couple of spending lavishly, then using fraudulent loans to pay off old ones. So they were doing this before they got the show. And when I used to see commercials of them, but I never watched an episode, and just something about them just seemed off, especially that husband. Something just seemed very slimy about him, very scumbaggish about him. Like very arrogant. And I'm like, I hope nothing comes out about him. Fast forward, here we are. So the fact that they was committing these crimes back then before the show began lets me know that however they lived that lifestyle that they had, like whatever they showed on TV, that was money most likely that was stolen. I don't know if they had any type of entrepreneurial endeavors prior to what they did, but most of the money that they've obtained, it seems to me, was stolen from, you know, with these tax evasions and these fraudulent acts they were pulling with the bank. A 3-judge panel of the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals last summer upheld the Chrisley's conviction, but found a legal error in how the trial judge had calculated Julie Chrisley's sentence by holding her accountable for the entire bank fraud scheme. The appellate panel sent her case back to the lower court for resentencing. Savannah Chrisley spoke at the 2024 Republican National Convention, where she talked about her parents' imprisonment. She said that they were, quote, persecuted by rogue prosecutors, echoing Trump's rhetoric about the criminal justice system as he faced investigation in criminal cases of his own. She said Trump had been targeted for his politics and said her parents likewise were targeted because of their conservative beliefs and high profile. Again, this is their daughter saying that the apple ain't falling too far from the tree. Now I see where she gets it from. She said, I'll never forget what the prosecutor said in the mostly heavily Democratic county in the state before an Obama appointed judge. And it sounds very eerily similar to what Trump said about Scott Jenkins, because he mentioned how this judge was appointed by Biden. He said he called us the Trumps of the South, Savannah Chrisley said in her remarks at the convention, adding he meant it as an insult. But let me tell you, boy, do I wear it as a badge of honor. This girl is a space cadet. I see where she gets it now. And this is what I was trying to tell, like say in my live when I was talking about those black conservatives. I said, this is who he's out here pardoning. He ain't thinking about you. Unless you got money and you made donations or contribute, it's going to take more than you wearing an ultra MAGA hat or any type of Make America Great Again hat or a Trump 2024 hat for him to notice you. And notice a lot of the people that he's pardoning, they look a particular way. I mean, I feel like I don't have to lay out how they look. It's pretty obvious what it is. And people can spin it and flip it however they want to, but it is what it is. But yeah, here we are with another Operation Protect. This is on the white couple. This is a 2-for-1 special right here. This is going to conclude this particular video. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.
But wait, there's more.
I wanted to throw this part in there because this actually came out shortly after the initial part of the video that I did. It actually came out maybe I think on June 2nd, where Todd Chrisley was doing a press conference, or just speaking to the press about him being pardoned by Trump and everything like that. And he ended up just out of nowhere just saying that he was treated better while he was in prison opposed to the other black inmates. And I said there's only two things that really came to my mind when I heard him say that. Was one, well, duh, Captain Obvious, of course you was going to be treated slightly better than them. I mean, look at you, you definitely have a lot of privilege on your side. And even though you stole pretty much what we assume to be most of what is your wealth, you still have a level of privilege on your side compared to the other black inmates that's in there. The other thing that stuck out to me or jumped out at me was it took for you to get locked up to actually understand how this system works. And the thing about it is, people like Todd Chrisley is one of millions, and he's a small microcosm in a sea of millions that have the mindset of, wow, I didn't know the system was actually like that. No kidding. Yes, this is the system at play here, a system that you benefit greatly from. I mean, look at it. You just got a presidential pardon for a crime that you and your wife committed that should have kept y'all locked up for what was it, 10 years? And you got a whole pardon. You have your daughter out there literally making plea cases and saying how y'all didn't do anything wrong, and y'all got a pardon. Meanwhile, those black inmates that you was, I guess, talking to while you was in there, they probably committed a lesser crime and they got football sentences and they didn't get a pardon. So it's like, okay, we get it. Now you understand what it is. But the thing is, you can just say it, but he ain't going to do nothing to change it. He just came out there and said it, I guess. I don't know. Is this his way of trying to say, I understand what you're going through? No, you can keep that. Nope. I'm not falling for the okie doke. So I don't even know why Todd even made that comment. That, in my opinion, him saying that was more of a self-serving thing for him rather than a, oh, I see what it is. Because the thing is, again, if he had never got locked up for what he did, again, for committing a criminal act, he wouldn't have cared. Because when has he ever talked about this before? When has he ever talked like this before him being locked up? Never. So yeah, that was just a weird thing for him to just come right out and say. I mean, he acknowledged what we already knew. Many black people already knew what this was about, whether we were locked up or not. So him saying it doesn't really mean much, but I just wanted to come in and throw that in there because I thought that was just very interesting that he decided to throw that out there. One of the quote that he said he's met some wonderful men when he was locked up. He listened to some horrific stories about things that have gone on in our system. And then he says, I will continue to fight for all of the guys that I dealt with and that I was blessed to be with at the FPC Pensacola. And he says, I will continue to expose the injustices that go on there and throughout the Bureau of Prisons. So now I'm guessing this is his way of becoming an advocate. He had to see it firsthand for him to I guess grasp what it was. Well, here's the thing. If he would have known what it was like before he went in, he probably wouldn't have committed the crime in which he and his wife did. But that's just me.